Hey everyone, and welcome back to Book Summary 5. I'm Sammy, and today we're diving into Earth by John Boyne, the second installment in his Elemental Quartet. If water was quiet and grief-stricken, Earth rumbles with rage, injustice, and the raw tension between memory and reckoning. Once again, Boyne delivers a compact, emotionally complex story, this time centered on a man confronting the sins of his past, and those committed by the family and institutions that shaped him. So settle in. We're going to walk through this haunting, painfully human story from start to finish, so you'll feel like you have read it cover to cover. This time, we follow the perspective of a man named Evan Keogh. In his 70s, Evan is a retired schoolteacher living a fairly comfortable life in rural Ireland. But his past is far from tidy. He's recently returned to the town of his childhood, the very place where, as a boy, he was abused by a priest. It's not a move he made lightly. His return is slow-burning and deliberate, not just to confront what happened, but to confront who he has become in its wake. Evan's life has been shaped, often distorted, by the trauma he experienced as a child. He isn't just a victim. He's also someone who has carried that damage into his adult relationships, through anger, secrecy, and a guardedness that has kept even those closest to him at a distance. His marriage fell apart. His relationship with his daughter is strained. And yet, despite it all, he remains deeply observant, often bitterly funny, and painfully aware of the way pain cycles through generations. The heart of the novel revolves around Evan's quest to find justice, or, at the very least, accountability. The priest who abused him, Father Larrigan, is still alive. Frail now, and shielded by the church, but never held responsible. Evan wants to expose him, name him, make people listen. But justice, especially in a small, conservative community that would rather forget, is complicated. Whispers are dismissed. Survivors are doubted. And power still protects the guilty. Boyne doesn't present Evan as some perfect moral hero. In fact, Evan's own failings are front and center. He's bristly, resentful, prone to judgment. He has made decisions that hurt people, including someone who trusted him deeply. But it's in this grayness that Earth becomes so powerful. It asks, how do you live with the things done to you, and the things you've done in return? Is revenge enough? Is exposure ever satisfying? Or is the real work internal, about coming to terms with the truth and no longer letting it control you? There's a powerful parallel running through the story. Evan, in his youth, buried something in the earth. Not just metaphorically, a literal box of drawings, secrets, and pain. As he begins to dig back into his own story, both emotionally and literally, we see how much of him was buried with it. There's something deeply symbolic in how Boyne plays with this idea. Earth holds our roots, our past, and sometimes our shame. One of the most heart-wrenching elements is Evan's relationship with another man from his past, someone who also suffered under Father Larrigan. Their shared history bonds them, but also opens wounds that were never properly healed. Together, they attempt to face the monster who shaped so much of their lives. And when the confrontation finally comes, it's not some explosive climax. It's quiet, ugly, and real. Because sometimes what justice looks like is far from cinematic. By the end, Evan has not found peace, but he has found movement. He's begun to speak aloud the things that once choked him in silence. He has started to reconnect with his daughter, even as their bond remains fragile. And he has, in a small way, reclaimed the narrative of his life from those who tried to erase or distort it. Earth is not an easy read, but it is a necessary one. Boyne doesn't shy away from the brutal legacy of abuse within the church, nor from the emotional aftermath that follows survivors for decades. Through Evan, he gives us a lens into male vulnerability, institutional betrayal, and the long, painful road to personal truth. It's about digging up the past, literally and emotionally, and facing it, even if it shakes the ground beneath you. Thanks for listening to this summary here on Book Summary 5. We'll be continuing through Boyne's Elemental series soon. And as always, wherever you are in your story, remember, the past may shape you, but it doesn't have to define you. Until next time, happy reading.